Let's give it up for Michael Timon. Give him a hand, everybody.
Thank you. I'm going to do an a cappella thing with my voice. So I just turned 30 this year, which was weird. Thank you. I had a lot of friends freak out at 30, you know? And I didn't freak out at all. I'm like, that's how it works. Time's linear. You know what would have freaked me out? I went to bed 29, woke up 45. I would have been like, what the fuck? And like when you get older, you get things change. I like getting older because like I hated being in my 20s. Like you know that thing in your 20s where you're like supposed to go out on weekends? I fucking hated that. I get a call from my friend on a Friday night. He'd be like, Mike, Friday night, let's go party. Be like, no, man, I'm going to stay home. He's like, oh, what's wrong? Now it's like a completely different thing. Now I get the same phone call Friday night. It's like, Mike, Friday night, let's go party. Nah, man, I'm just going to stay home. Oh, that's right, you're 30. You're probably going to like build a ship in a bottle, listen to NPR, right? Let me guess, you got to get up extra early tomorrow to go to the 30 Center for shuffleboard. That's young people have a weird, distorted thing on 30. 30 is a kind of a weird age, though, because like you get different expectations getting older. 16, you can drive. 18, you can buy cigarettes and porn. I don't know how those go together. 21, you can drink and gamble. Now, whoever made that is a billionaire, you know, being from Las Vegas. In 30, no one tells you. So what I learned in my 30s is I get a lot, like I was way more realistic with my expectations. Like my dreams have been crushed into a reality that I can actually expect. For example, I went and I saw a personal trainer to get rid of this situation going on. Side view, if you didn't see that, kind of hiding. So I went and saw this personal trainer. He's in his 20s. He's like all pumped. He's like super fit. He's like, come on, man, what do you want to do? You want to get some abs? You want to build some traps? I don't know what traps are, but apparently you want to build them. And I'm like, I'm super realistic. So I just looked at him, I'm like, dude, I just don't want type 2 diabetes. That's all I want. Way realistic. He didn't understand. He's in his 20s. He still thinks things are possible. He's like, come on, man. Dude, what are your goals? I'm like, I just don't want to lose a foot and drink Dr. Pepper in my 60s. That's all I want to do. Other thing, I'm really single. Just tough. Yeah, thank you for the sympathy. It's hard dating, especially when you look like me. The thing that, like, drives me nuts, like, I'm really terrible with women. Like, I don't need a friend to cock block me. I do that all on my own. I went to this bar called Pickwick's back in LA, and it's a Packer bar. I'm in my Packer stuff, watching the Packer game. I see this beautiful girl. She's like beautiful. She has her Packer stuff on. She's drinking a gin and tonic, my drink of choice. I'm in love at this point. So we end up talking later, and we're getting into it like, hey, where are you from? What's your name? And it comes out that she goes to UCLA. I'm like, I'm Mike. I'm a comedian. I'm like, what do you do? She's like, I go to law school at UCLA. And so what I say screws up everything. I go, oh, Roe v. Wade. That's an interesting case. Yeah. She brings up law school. I think of the most controversial case that ever exists. I was like, let's see, you're not supposed to talk about religion, politics. Let's mix all those together. One thing. Any sports fans out here? A couple of you? All right, good. That's way easier for me. I'm a huge sports fan and a nerd. And like I'm not like a nerd, like I like comic, like I like science and reading. And like I always got shit from my friends for like, thank you. Science fans over here. Fantasy science, no. Like, so what happens is that I get a lot of shit from my nerd friends because, you know, they hate sports. I'm like, I don't get why they hate sports. I'm like, it's fucking statistics and physics. You love that shit. I don't get why they don't like it. And they try to make analogies about things I do. I love fantasy football. Like, I love playing it. And they try and equate it to Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, that is nothing like Dungeons and Dragons. Because in fantasy football, there are rules. There's not some asshole friend making it up as he goes. Like, if I have Tom Brady, he throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. There's not some asshole friend who comes in and goes, and then the Orcs came and took all the points away. That never happened. I get my points. I didn't realize how big a sports fan I was until like about a couple years ago. I used to make fun of people who dress up their dogs, right? Like my sister does that. She has like a little dog she likes to put in dresses and shit that the dog hates. And I was making fun of her, and then she turned to me and she goes, "Don't you dress your dog up in sports jerseys?" That's when I realized I'm crazier than my sister. She does it so her dog looks cute. I do it because I think my dog actually roots for the same sports teams I do. That's fucking crazy. It's never happened. I've never woken up in the morning, put on my Aaron Rodgers Green Bay jersey. She comes waltzing in a Minnesota Viking jersey. Never happened. I'd put her down if that happened. Put her out of the misery of being a Minnesota fan. I'm sorry. I try to think of like what my dog would like if she could choose what team she could root for, because I'm weird. And so, like, I tried to think, like, at first I was like, well, probably the Browns because they have like the dog mascot. And then I was like, wait, but they call their fans a dog pound. That might be a deterrent. And then I was thinking about like, well, she likes birds. And then I thought about the Eagles. I'm like, ooh, Michael Vick. But I like to think my dog's really progressive. So I like to think she sat there and was just like, he's done his time. He's done his time. Like, I want to say, she's a black lab, Layla. And like, I was thinking like, maybe like, what would be weird is if she liked the Carolina Panthers. She came in a Carolina Panthers being like, I thought you hate cats. What if she just sat there and she's like, I'm like, oh my God, my dog's a black lab supremacist. All right, thank you all very much. My name's Michael Timo. You guys have been great.